This is fake. She lied. If this is real, then she deserved it. Those were the words echoed throughout the internet when the news broke of Kim Kardashian's robbery. Just by saying aloud or reading that first and last name, you know that the story's going to be huge. Kim Kardashian was a well-known reality star, actress, producer, well-known around the globe, and the percentage of people who didn't know anything about her was relatively tiny. While she definitely is known for her looks, which might be extra for some, her lavish lifestyle is the subject of many articles, talks, and gossip all over the internet. Surely, the public likes and sometimes even provokes famous people to show off their gold and wealth. The crowd is immensely interested in how to live for those who don't need to count the money they're spending. But some celebs take showing off to a different level, as Kim Kardashian does. When it's so lush and extra that a few might get the wrong vibe from it, then it's rather an unfortunate coincidence that after triggering the public for so long with wealth, dates with A-list celebrities, flying in private jets, and buying the fanciest of designer Balmain or Balenciaga, someone from the crowd had to put a stop to it. So what did it cost Kim Kardashian, and how did it exactly happen? Kim and Kourtney Kardashian, along with stylist Simone Harouche, were coming back from Paris Fashion Week to their hotel, Hotel de Portal, which is also known as No Address Hotel. While Kim's sister wanted a night out, Kim had enough for one day and preferred to stay in her room and work for a bit on the laptop. The family bodyguard, Pascal Duvier, escorted her sister and stylist to keep an eye out and felt that there was no necessity to stay with Kim at the hotel. While working on her computer, somewhere around 2:56 a.m., Kim heard a strange noise that came from the door that startled her.
Right as I was about to fall asleep, I heard guys running up the stairs. They wanted my ring and my jewelry, so I didn't fight back. I just gave them everything, and they tied me up. They wrapped duct tape over my eyes and my mouth. It was the scariest thing I've ever been through in my entire life, just thinking that, you're about to die.
She immediately called out for her bodyguard, but instead, she noticed that 3 strangers were near her door, one of them being tied up. The men looked like they were from the police, despite the fact that they had their faces covered like robbers always do, wearing balaclavas and ski masks. The tied man was recognized later as a porter from the lobby of the hotel, who was forced to give up the location of Kim's room. As soon as the door was opened by the concierge, the robbers marched into the apartment, pulled Kim from the bed, and waved a gun right into her face, demanding to give everything that she's got. They were asking for cash.
But they brought in the concierge from downstairs, handcuffed, with a gun up to him. So they were yelling at me in French.
Kim felt like she was in grave danger and shouted, "Don't kill me, I have babies. Don't kill me, please. I have babies. I'm a mom. Take whatever you want." As the concierge was in the same circumstances as Kim and believed that today might as well be his last day, he didn't have another option but to be a translator and negotiator. So despite having the gun pointed at his neck at the time, he tried to calm Kim down, trying to assure her that they wouldn't die that night. Then the robbers were shouting for some money, but Kim had about $1,000 in euros, which clearly wasn't enough. Kim had a strong belief that the thieves were looking for the ring that she had flashed on her Instagram page, a 20-carat diamond ring. But when she passed the ring to one of the thieves, they didn't go out of her apartment, to her disappointment, but placed the ring in one of the thief's pockets. As Kim was panicking, she was screaming continuously and couldn't keep her cool, so the robbers tied her up with plastic cables, gagged her with duct tape, also put some duct tape on her eyes, and placed her in the bathroom on the floor. They grabbed me and took me into the hallway. I was wearing a bathrobe, naked underneath. Then we went in the room again and they pushed me on the bed. And it was this time they tied me up with plastic cables and taped my hands. Then they put tape over my mouth and my legs. Luckily for Kim, her phone lit up and the name of Pascal Duvier was visible on the screen. When the concierge noticed that, he informed the robbers that if Kim didn't answer this call right away, in no time, the police would probably be there. The heist was stopped and the robbers were on their way, not only with the said ring, but a jewelry box that had 12 more items inside. An overall estimate of $10 million, possibly more. 2 diamond Cartier bracelets, a gold and diamond Jacob necklace, Lorraine Schwartz diamond earrings, a gold Rolex, and other items. I think they robbed me of $5 million. As soon as the robbers got out of the apartment, Kim found some strength to get rid of the restraints, and she found the apartment of her stylist Simone, who wasn't asleep from the moment she heard the first signs of commotion and had locked herself in the bathroom and called Pascal. Just a few minutes after the robbers left the building, the police arrived and canvassed the scene. The following morning, after giving all the necessary statements, Kim was finally able to leave the country and have peaceful surroundings to lick her wounds. First and foremost, this robbery required detailed planning. Despite there being many speculations on the internet about whether the robbers were masked as paparazzi or in the crowd as regular observers, all that they needed was a modern phone with social networking apps on it. Kim Kardashian was known for thoroughly documenting her every move via social networks, which gave a solid ground for thieves to plan their heist. I saw one of her shows where she threw her diamond in the pool, in that episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I thought, she's got a lot of money. This lady doesn't care at all. I went on the internet and I saw her jewelry, I saw her ring, I saw that she showed it everywhere. We knew this information through social media. We knew that she was coming for Fashion Week. So we went there to do some reconnaissance. So we were sure. The thieves were all from Paris with the knowledge of how to move through the city without being caught by security cameras. And they used bikes as their means of transportation. Some of them got to the hotel on foot. The hotel is in the center of Paris, where there are a lot of CCTV cameras, but on a bike, you can ride the small streets, where there are no cameras. Also, bikes are almost impossible to trace. The majority of them look alike, but by using basic means of masking, one can easily become undetectable. From 2:18 a.m. to 2:33 a.m., 6 men approached the entrance of the hotel. 3 of them were riding bikes, and 3 more were on foot. All of them had distinctive shirts as police officers wear, balaclavas and gloves, which were not a part of police uniform. The concierge noticed men approaching the glass doors, and as they had police shirts, he let them in, thinking they were from the police. Then the situation quickly changed, and he had been handcuffed and felt the cold barrel of a gun to his neck and back.
So how did you prepare for the crime?
J'étais sur Internet, et c'est vrai, j'ai vu ses bijoux, j'ai vu sa bague, j'ai vu qu'elle a montré un peu partout, et qu'on a su ces informations-là par les réseaux sociaux. Dès qu'on savait qu'elle venait pour la Fashion Week, donc on est venu là, on a venu repérer où était la Fashion Week. Donc on était certains, nous on était là depuis... Voilà, c'est là, c'est ici.
Is this family and are these girls sharing too much? Like, people now are wondering if that's to blame and how these guys knew that she was in their apartment, probably alone.
So what happened on the night?
Alors ici on est rentré par la petite porte qui était ouverte à l'intérieur de la porte. Et dès qu'on est rentré, on a pris possession des lieux. On l'a maîtrisé, on l'a attaché. Et ensuite, on a cherché les clés de quelle chambre elle occupait. Et moi je suis resté en bas, mes 2 collègues sont montés avec le concierge pour aller jusqu'à la chambre de Madame Kardashian. Ensuite ils ont récupéré les bijoux, ils sont redescendus. Et la secrétaire de Madame Kardashian a appelé le secours, mais elle a appelé le 911, c'est écrit aux États-Unis. Ce qui leur a fait perdre beaucoup de temps. Et quand on est sorti, c'était simplement une ronde de police qui n'était pas au courant, ne savait pas qu'il y avait eu le braquage.
Are these Kim Kardashian's robbers? It's the first video showing the alleged thieves on bikes and on foot, heading toward the boutique hotel in Paris where the heist took place.
How did you get caught?
Ah, parce que j'ai laissé mon ADN. Quand j'ai maîtrisé le gardien, je l'ai donc pris les mains et je l'ai attaché. Et en l'attachant, j'ai laissé mon ADN.
As the concierge recalled, the men didn't seem like professionals at all. They seemed to be between 40 and 50, and there was some confusion and improvisation happening during the heist. Because of who Kim Kardashian was and the fact that the jewelry was very pricey, this robbery was handled by the elite Paris crime unit BRB, which has a specialty in dealing with organized crime and armed robberies. The chief of that division was Madame Commissioner Agnes Zanardi, who was experienced in dealing with jewelry robberies, especially smash and grab ones. After some time had passed, French police arrested about 17 suspects, from whom only 10 were indicted and were facing charges. Younes Abbas, 63 years old, was charged with conspiracy, robbery, forcible confinement, and kidnapping. He was released from prison due to health issues, and he published a book, I Sequestered Kim Kardashian, in which he mocks Kim Kardashian and makes fun of her on account of not knowing the analog of 911 in France and several other things. Floris H. had the same charges as Younes Abbas. Another robber, a 64-year-old man, had been charged with conspiracy and helping to resell stolen jewels. The fourth one, 27-year-old Gary M., is known to be the brother of the chauffeur that was with Kim in Paris and was charged with assisting in armed robbery and kidnapping. 6 more suspects were much older, ages from 44 to 72 years old, and happened to be 5 men and 1 woman. One of them was Omar Eitredesh, who's thought to be the genius mastermind behind the whole heist. He was the person who tied and restrained Kim, and he left his DNA on the duct tape and plastic cables. While in prison, he wrote a letter to Kim Kardashian in 2017. After observing your emotion and realizing the psychological damages I inflicted, I decided to write to you. Not to obtain from you some sort of indulgence, know that I fully sympathize with the pain you're enduring, your children, your husband, and your close ones. I hope that this letter will allow you to forget little by little the trauma that you suffered by my fault. The question that a lot of people had at the forefront of their mind is whether there was a sign of remorse from the robbers. Not really. Majority of the robbers showed no remorse at all. What's more, they said that actually it was Kim's fault that the robbery happened because she needed to be more modest and not show off her jewels and lush lifestyle to those who can't afford that. They should be a little less showy toward people who can't afford it. For some people, it's provocative. The jewels were likely to be taken apart and sold separately on the black market. Diamonds like that change hands 5 times in 2 days in Antwerp's diamond district. Nobody will ever know. They'll be on the fingers of Americans within 6 months to a year. You have 3 choices. You could either hold on to it, you can sell it to a buyer who's fine with it being stolen, which is very hard to find, or you can change the stones to make them unrecognizable. Anybody in the trade would be able to tell that these were Kim Kardashian's diamonds. As expected, the whole family was immensely worried about Kim's well-being, specifically her husband at the time, Kanye West, now known as Ye, who stated that he didn't care about lost jewelry at all, only that Kim was unharmed. And as soon as she landed in New York, she and her mother were escorted to their Manhattan apartment, followed by an excessive security detail. As soon as Kim was safe in New York with her family, she tried to keep everything normal as much as she could and kept herself away from any appearance on social media for 3 months. Also, her close friends such as Jonathan Shaban, Simon Huck, and Lala Anthony came to show her some support. The events that Kim had experienced had a traumatic effect on her, which is quite understandable, and resulted in her having anxiety attacks and sleep deprivation. As a matter of fact, what happened to her in Paris forced Kim to rethink the way that she behaves and what she posts on social media. She told her mom, "I think it's time that I have to see a therapist, because I don't want to have these feelings and flashbacks. I've always been really aware of my emotions and how I've been feeling, and I never really thought therapy was right for me. But I also want to be responsible to my husband and kids and do whatever I have to do to get through this and not be this crazy person that's always scared and anxious. I don't want to live my life like that."
I know this sounds crazy, but I know that was meant to happen to me. I don't want to start crying, but I feel like that was so meant to happen to me. I'm such a different person.
When she felt comfortable again to be around flashes of cameras and people staring at her, everyone could see the drastic changes in her appearance. There was no flashy, luxurious jewelry or extravagant outfits. On the contrary, minimalism, while still expensive, seemed to be a new credo for Kim. No expensive items ever come to my house. I have it all taken from security before I even enter my home. I can't sleep if I have jewelry in my safe, or money, or anything at my house. I just don't live my life like that. As far as jewelry, if I'm wearing something, it's borrowed, it's fake. Well, after such details are revealed about the theft, you may expect people to perhaps feel sorry for Kim, sympathize with her, or show some support. While some definitely did so, for example, Salma Hayek said, "It's horrific. I know it's terrible, but thank God she's okay. It's the only thing I can say because it could have been worse. And it is good news. Thank God that her little girl was not there." And many others showed Kim's support via Twitter. But there is another story of people who thought that the whole Paris situation was nothing more than a publicity stunt. There were a lot of really mean tweets, the general message of which was that Kim should find another way to attract attention to herself. Some even suggested that it was another conspiracy theory because it's close to being almost impossible to differentiate between publicity stunts and everything else that happens in the Kardashians' lives. Karl Lagerfeld, who was a creative director at Chanel and a designer, kind of accused Kim of having that lush lifestyle and being a living provocation. If you're that famous, and you put all your jewelry on the net, you go to hotels where nobody can come near to the room, you cannot display your wealth and then be surprised that some people want to share it with you. Some people interpreted this as Kim Kardashian, even herself, getting a special sign from above that she should change her ways around this flashy and luxurious lifestyle she was living and showing off via social media, which, in fact, she did. I try to share my life. I definitely love doing that, but I think I'm a little bit more cautious these days about what I do share. I think it's so important to monitor social media usage. It's about boundaries. At home, I don't have my phone. Dinner time, breakfast time, there's no phone. I might take a photo, save it, post it when I leave the place or when I'm in a different location, because I don't think that worked out for me so well when I was posting every last detail. I've learned from experience.